And thanks for joining us for this special edition of 90 Minutes in Africa, coming to you from My Media Prime. I am Bo Elvis. My Media Prime is the African Eye, broadcasting from Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. In today's edition of the program 90 Minutes in Africa, we are having a special interview with Professor Maurice Kamto, who is Cameroon's opposition leader and former member of government in Cameroon. We are going to present him in the course of the program, and we're going to discuss with Professor Maurice Kamto issues concerning his party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, issues concerning the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, as well as Cameroon, African and world issues. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin today's edition of the program by bringing to you the presentation of who Professor Maurice Kamto is, we use the opportunity to welcome him to the show. He's joining us from Yaoundé. Professor Maurice Kamto, thank you so much for accepting to grant this exclusive interview to My Media Prime.
Thank you very much for having me, Elvis.
Thank you. So I begin by doing a presentation of Professor Maurice Kamto. He was born on the 15th of February 1951 in Bafoussam, Cameroon, holder of a degree in public law from the Faculty of Law of the University of Yaoundé in 1979, diplôme des hautes études internationales et études supérieures de la communauté européenne, that is graduate diploma in international studies, and an advanced diploma in European Community Studies, Institut Européen des Hautes Études Internationales, diplôme d'études approfondies de droit public fondamental, diploma of advanced studies in basic public law, and diplôme d'études approfondies de droit international, diploma of advanced studies in international law from the Faculty of Law, Nice in 1980. Professor Maurice Kamto also has a diploma from the Institute of Public Administration, Paris in 1982. Doctorat d'État, doctorate in law, Faculty of Law, Nice in 1983, thesis prize awarded by the Faculty of Law in 1983 in Nice, prize awarded by the Académie des Sciences d'Outre-mer 1988, higher education teacher's certificate awarded by the French Faculties of Law in 1988. Now, Professor Maurice Kamto also has also had administrative and governmental functions. He has been Dean of the Faculty of Judicial and Political Sciences, University of Yaoundé II from 1999 to 2004. Professor Maurice Kamto has also been Minister Delegate to the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Justice of Cameroon from 2004 to 2011. At the level of international activities, Professor Maurice Kamto has been chairman of the International Law Commission from 2011 to 2012, special rapporteur of the International Law Commission on the subject expulsion of aliens 2004 to 2016, member of the International Law Commission from May 1999 to August 2016, co-agent, counsel, and advocate for Cameroon before the International Court of Justice in the case concerning the land and maritime boundary between Cameroon and Nigeria between 1994 to 2002, counsel and advocate for the Republic of Niger before the International Court of Justice in the case concerning the frontier dispute Benin versus Niger, counsel for Guinea-Conakry in the Diallo case, Guinea versus Democratic Republic of the Congo between 2003 to 2004, counsel and advocate of the Republic of Niger before the International Court of Justice in the case concerning the frontier dispute between Burkina Faso and Niger. Maurice Kamto has been member of the Curatorium of the Hague Academy of International Law. Also, just to indicate again, too, that Professor Maurice Kamto, concerning his practice as counsel before some governments and also before the International Court of Justice, he has been counsel and lawyer of Equatorial Guinea in the case of immunities and penal procedures between Equatorial Guinea and France, and he has been member of Tribunal of Arbitration under the Permanent Court of Arbitration based at The Hague. I think that is the presentation of Maurice Kamto. In Cameroon, he is the president, chairman of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, which is, of course, the major political party in Cameroon. Professor Maurice Kamto, maybe we begin by understanding the meaning of Renaissance in the name of your party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. Does Cameroon need any Renaissance?
I do think so, and we do think so in the Cameroon Renaissance movement. Why so? Because if you look at the history, the recent history of our country, since the independence, 1960, 1961, with the reunification, you'll see that we went a long way. We went a long way in terms of development, in terms of setting up industries in this country, improvement of the administrative standard of the state, and so on and so forth. And in 1992, when a new president came in, we were very hopeful that things will move on faster, because he was younger, he was an intellectual, if we can say so, a well-educated person, and we thought that we'll move faster than even before. On the contrary, I think that any reasonable person who looks back now will come to the conclusion that we have stepped back and not forward. And that's why we are talking of Renaissance. Remember that maybe, I don't know how old you are, but people of my age, and let me recall that I was born in 1954, not 51, as you said in your kind introduction. I was born in 15 February 1954 in Bafoussam indeed. So people of my age can easily make the comparison, and they will come to the conclusion that we missed a lot of things during our journey to development of the country. That's why we are talking of Renaissance. It means born again, to if not reach the standard we had before we are where we are today, meaning some 30 years back, but at least reconnect with what was the aim of, and I will even say the heart of Cameroon, which appeared clearly in those days like a leader in sub-Saharan Africa.
Thank you, Professor Maurice Kamto. For those who are just joining us, you're watching an exclusive interview with Professor Maurice Kamto, chairman of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, the main political party in Cameroon. And of course, we are being watched on Canal Sat channel 309. We are also watched on Amos 17. We are watched on the Swecom network, and we are also relayed by our relay channels across Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. And you can send us your questions. I mean, if you have any question for Professor Maurice Kamto, just try to follow the question line we will be unveiling, and you can send us your question through SMS or WhatsApp, and we are going to read out the questions to him. He's going to answer them. So it's going to be an interactive session. Now online, you can watch us on BT Media Group on YouTube, and on Facebook, you can watch us on My Media Prime TV on Facebook. And I know Professor Maurice Kamto will also ask his media team to be streaming this live interview on his page so far. So Professor Maurice Kamto, recently we saw Winfried Ekanga, who seems to be someone close to your party, the CRM, having a discussion with French President Emmanuel Macron, which gave the impression that Cameroon, he was not happy with the way things have been done in Cameroon. How did you receive news of the encounter between Winfried Ekanga and the French President Emmanuel Macron?
First of all, let me tell you that I was not aware of the fact that Winfried Ekanga, who happens to be one of my advisors, he is a member of Cameroon Renaissance Movement. There is no problem about that. But I was not aware of the fact that he will meet with the French president and that he will ask him some questions. People should start, familiarize with the fact that in our party, to some extent, at least, people are really very free to have their own opinion. So he didn't consult me before that meeting, and he didn't call me after the meeting. So I discovered everything in the social media. But now, if we come to the merits, I think that people have made a lot of noise about something which is really quite simple, because what Ikanga said is that he would not like foreign countries to get involved in our internal affairs. But if you look at the debate in the social media, it's like he was calling on France to come and get involved in Cameroonian affairs, which is completely the opposite of what he was trying to submit to the French president. So I think that we should take it for what it is. The anger of a young Cameroonian who lives in Europe, expressing his anger and hoping a bright future for his country through peaceful change, peaceful alternates in Cameroon. And this is one of the motto of our party: peaceful change through elections. And it is exactly what Ikanga has said. If Cameroonians decide that they want to change their leaders, no one should get into it or involved in the process to change or to modify the result or the choice of Cameroonians.
Professor Kamto, responding to Cameroonians and the international community, the Ministry of Communication, of course, you know, the Cameroon Ministry of Communication, they are very keen on issues that happen, when it comes to bilateral relations. They're always very swift to react. And they boasted about press freedom in Cameroon, and they insisted that President Paul Biya, nobody can give democracy lectures to President Paul Biya. Faced with a similar scenario, if you are president of the republic, will you release a similar press release if you are the party in power?
No, that question should be asked to the party in power, because they are the one in charge. They are managing our relationship between foreign countries. They know what they are doing. They have been very close to them. I don't know what game they are playing. They will make like they are angry, but they are not, because they know the support they get from many foreign countries who have relationship with our country. So that question is for them.
Professor Maurice Kamto, your party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, will hold its party convention in 2023. The first vice president of the female wing of your party, Michelle Ndoki, has announced her intention to take over from you in 2023. Are you comfortable with her decision to take over from you in 2023?
I have absolutely no problem with that. Let me even go further and say that any CRM militant who would like to compete in whatever elections in our party is free to do so, and we're the most welcomed. So there is no problem. They should not make a deal with what Mrs. Ndoki has said. She's just a militant as any other in our party. And what I'm saying is very clear. It is crafted in our bylaws, in our statutes and our bylaws, that every single militant of CRM is free to compete to any elections in the party. So, full stop.
Your party supporters have received her intention with a lot of mixed feelings. While some see her intention as genuine, others suspect that she is probably being remote controlled in a secret agenda to destabilize your party. Do you have total confidence that Michelle Ndoki's intentions are genuine?
Again, this type of question should be addressed directly to Mrs. Ndoki. If she's genuine, she will say she's genuine. If she's not, it's up to her to tell us exactly where she stands. But for me, again, we have no problem with her being the candidate to be the leader of Cameroon Renaissance Movement, as long as she is a militant of the party and she meets with all the conditions set up in our statutes and bylaws. She can compete as any other CRM militant. That's all.
When is your mandate coming to an end within the party as president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement? Are there any limitations for you as president of the party?
Oh yes, there is limitation on the numbers of the mandate. And let me recall the viewers, your viewers, that the sections of our status pertaining to the numbers of mandates was not have never been modified. It is like it was it was crafted in 2012 while we were launching the party. So because I have listened to many discussions and arguments on the fact that we have modified the numbers of the mandate in 2018. What was introduced in 2018, and it was new, was that the party considered that the first mandate from 2012 to 2018, that first mandate should not be taken into consideration while we are making the account, the contability of the number of mandates. That section, was introduced in 2018. I didn't ask for that, and it was proposed by a commission. I was not the chair of that commission, and many people, including Ms. Doki and others, were members of that commission, and it was adopted after discussion in our directorate. It was submitted to the convention in 2018. That's all. So how many mandates a chairperson can have as a leader of the CRM? The statutes are very clear. 2 mandates renewable. 2 mandates, listen to me clearly. 2 mandates renewable twice. It means that if you put aside the first mandate, I still have, at least after my first mandate from 2018 to 2023, I still have at least 2 mandates if my contability is right. That's it. So, but I'm not obliged to be candidate again. I'm not bound to be candidate. It depends on everybody. I might decide not to compete again, but I also, since it is in accordance with the status of our party, decide to continue. So that's it, and people should live with that. What I would like to add to answer completely or fully your question is that someone should not base his own candidature on the fact that some other person might be candidate or not. If you want to compete, come and compete. And if you are the winner, I will just incline and greet you and bring you all my support. That's all.
Okay.
And that's democracy.
Thank you, Excellency. For those who are watching this program, you feel free to send in your questions to me directly on WhatsApp or SMS using the number you find on your screen, or you can type your questions on the Facebook messages that you have. Of course, you've typed the questions on Facebook. We are going to read them out. But preferably, you can send in your questions via SMS or via WhatsApp using the number you find on your screen. Professor Maurice Kamto, how are you coping with the management of your party in the absence of some high-ranking officials like Alain Foguet and party spokesman Bibunis Misak, who managed to request the reform of the electoral code as well as lack of accountability in the management of the state budget?
First of all, let me remind the viewers and permit me to say so you and yourself, because you can't say you missed an important point. For the reasons why they were marching. They were marching, first of all, the very first point was stop the war in the northwest and southwest of Cameroon. Bring peace back to our country. Because it is exactly for the same reason that we did not, as political party, we did not take part to the 2020 elections. So the first point was stop the war in northwest and southwest. The second point was let us work on a consensual reform of the electoral code. And thirdly, we need accountability on the management of public funds dedicated to the organization of African Cup of Nations 2019-2022. That's it. These are the reasons why they march peacefully. So now, how do we cope with their absence? We do our best. We are lucky enough that our party has many, let's say leader at different level. And that we are suffering, of course, for their absence, for their illegal and arbitrary imprisonment, but we are doing our best to make sure that our party moves on. And it is moving on. Now, we are trying to do our best through all legal means and peaceful means to make sure that they are released as early as possible.
Now, Professor, based on your experience, how effective are public manifestations in bringing about change in Cameroon?
No, what you cannot, you can only know something if you have experienced it, and until we have organized peaceful marches in Cameroon, we could not know that the government, our government, those who are in charge, are so indifferent on about the feelings of Cameroonians, about their sufferings, about the issue of accountability. Because when you accept a public position, you should know that you are accountable of your management of that position. And that is exactly what we have been asking to this government. And but we have asked it through through declarations, through press release, through articles in the medias, and in the end we realized that they were still indifferent, and that's why we organized marches, saying that maybe we should go out and be vocal, and then maybe they will listen to us. But clearly now I know that, and I can tell you that marches are not, whether they are peaceful or not, are not that helpful in Cameroon, due to the kind of government we have in our country. Because whether they like it or not, we are living in a dictatorship. And all the elements, the characteristics are there. It is not because you will say that you have 300 political parties in Cameroon that you are not in the dictatorship. Because you have, some newspapers and so on and so forth. They are free to publish whatever they want to publish. That you are not in the dictatorship. We are in a dictatorship in the sense that it is clearly stated that you cannot expect any change in Cameroon unless all Cameroonians organize themselves, stand up as one man, register in to Elecam or on the electoral list, and when the D-Day come, go and vote and defend their vote. This is our channel. The channel we have chosen. These are the method we have adopted in our party, and we stand by that. But marches have proven to be, at least for now, useless. Probably they are pushing Cameroonians to organize violent marches. This is probably what this government is expecting. Otherwise, I would not understand that people are march peacefully to submit their problem, and no one will listen to them, and no one will try even to commence, to start to resolve the problem. It is just for me, it's something I cannot understand unless they want to push people to violence.
Professor Maurice Kamto, what is your response to some of your critics who sometimes give allegations. Of course, we cannot verify those allegations here, but sometimes we get those allegations in the streets. Some of them allege that you were probably compromised by the authorities in place not to take part in the municipal and legislative elections so as to give a clean path for President Paul Biya's victory and that of the CPDM. What is your reaction to these allegations?
I mean, it's a joke. That's petty politics, and I don't waste my time with this kind of thing. Excuse me, it's just unbelievable that we have reached that level in Cameroon. I'm compromised to help the CPDM win the elections at the municipal and parliament level. Did they need me before? They have been there for 40 years. Why should they need me this time to win those elections? It's ridiculous. And you know, someone so far as to say that they pay me or 1.4 billion CFA francs or 1.5 or whatsoever. How can Cameroonians believe such stupidity? Excuse me, I'm not used to use this type of terminology, but it comes sometimes where you are exasperated to listen to people's, base their politics, because you have leaders of political parties, supporting this type of allegations, base their politics only on lies, on this type of statement, empty statement, and they expect me to come out every time and respond. I will not respond because it's just because I respect you, and otherwise I would have said I don't give any response to such stupidity. But believe me, it is nonsense.
Your party's last-minute decision not to participate in the 2020 municipal and legislative elections was due to deadly clashes in the country. If the situation remains the same, are you going to participate in the 2025 presidential election? No,
I have clearly said to my militants, and I'm saying now to Cameroonians, that a political party is not created for matches, whether they are peaceful or not. Also, a political party is not created to boycott the elections. We have taken that stand in 2020 to alert Cameroonians on the fact that should we go to those elections without bringing peace in Northwest and Southwest, we will be giving the message that Northwest and Southwest are no more part of Cameroon as a country, one single nation. Because peaceful elections could not take place in that part of our country. And that those who will come out there as the representative of the population will not be the genuine representative of the populations. And you can agree with me that many candidates in those two regions could not go to campaign in the regions. In those regions, they spend their time in Yaoundé, and now they are, they have been proclaimed as MPs representing populations of the Northwest and Southwest, or they are ruling councils there, where all the candidates were not in the position to campaign and submit their own vision to the electoral body. So that's why we say we cannot support this. But we have given the message, and now everybody has seen that we accepted to pay the highest price a political party can pay to boycott elections. Now they will mock us because we don't have MPs, we don't have people ruling municipalities and so on and so forth. It was a choice. It was a responsible choice. But for the future, since now we have given our message, we will go to whatever elections will be convened here in our country. 2025 elections, we are preparing for that. And let's be very clear on that. this is the decision of the directorate of our party, we will go to elections, even if the situation remains the same, for the simple reason that we are confident that we will win the elections that time again to change the situation in our country.
Professor Maurice Kamto, how attached or detached is your party to radical online activists as well as controversial diaspora groups like Brigade Anti-Sadina, accused of causing havoc to some Cameroonians abroad?
Well, I think things are really very clear. Those who are claiming our ties or links with Brigade Anti-Sadina has not been able to prove anything. They are alleging, they are lying as they are used to, but no single evidence. Let me remind you that at the very early stage of the marches in 2019, those people of BAS clearly state that if anything happened during the marches, or if people were prevented from marches, they will act accordingly. It was not a position of our party. It was not a statement of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. These people exist before the creation of Cameroon Renaissance Movement. They exist before, and the videos are there to testify what I'm saying. Now, as soon as they arrested us, and even before they arrested us, I think it was on the evening of the marches, the very evening of the marches, around 10 p.m., the Minister of Communication and the Minister of Territorial Administration issued a communique saying that the CRM and myself organized, violence in the embassies, Cameroonian embassies abroad. How could they at that time get the information? Because the representative of Cameroon at the embassy at that time had not made any report. How could they be so sure that the violence were organized by the Cameroon Renaissance Movement and myself? So the issue was brought before French court, and we introduced ourselves in the court of the procedure to defend our dignity and our innocence in that matter. And the members of BAS, who clearly said they don't know me, they have no connection with me, were tried and sentenced during that procedure. But the Cameroonian government didn't say anything about it in Cameroon because it was clear that we were not involved in that matter. So, I mean, they should stop serving lies to Cameroonians. They are supposed to be in charge of the country. Let them rule Cameroon properly, not divide Cameroonians with hatred, tribalism. Stop embezzling public funds and monies, and bring Cameroonians together to work hard to settle our problems, especially in the Northwest and Southwest, and develop our country, because what we have all what it takes for a country to develop. So that's the advice, if I may, I'll give to them.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Professor, I want to tell you that questions are already coming in for you. It's really going to be a busy day for you. I imagine you going through this 90 minutes because so many questions are coming in. And so we will try to take some questions from viewers before we get into the second part of the program of the questions and answer session with Professor Maurice Kamto, which will focus on the Northwest and the Southwest, the situation on ground in the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon. better known in the French-speaking zones as no-so. They call it no-so. Professor Maurice Kamto, let me take these questions from viewers, which, of course, you could try to answer swiftly so that we move on to the second part of our program. Good day, Bo Elvis, and good day to Professor. I want to ask Professor Maurice Kamto, why did he accept the petition tabled before him to make President Paul Biya a life president? What can he do within his power to reverse that policy? Ndonwi Peter, writing from Bamako, Mali. Probably, I don't know.
What petition, please? Can you? Can you specify a question? Because
normally I don't seem to really understand the question that much. I don't seem to understand the question that much. So surely I will ask him to send the question again. The other question is coming in from Vivian Kenya.
Maybe the viewer is referring to the modification of the Constitution in 2018. Maybe.
Probably.
In 2008.
Probably.
In 2008.
Yeah. Why did you
ask? Because some people used to say that I was the one drafting, the modification of the Constitution. I was then Minister Delegate in the Ministry of Justice. Let me be very clear. If they don't know how the government of our country functions, let me, refresh their memory. A Minister Delegate doesn't have any personal power as such. He will do what the minister in charge, senior minister, asks him to do. Firstly. The second point is that the amendment of the Constitution is not initiated in the Ministry of Justice. They are making a mistake. Maybe in a normal country it should be so, but it is initiated elsewhere, and more precisely, probably in the presidency, sometime the Minister of the Territorial Administration is involved. And that's why I don't feel myself involved or concerned at all when people say I modified the Constitution in 2008. I was informed that a modification of the Constitution was going to take place through the press channel, like any other Cameroonian. No one consulted me before. I'm speaking loud and clear. No one consulted me before whatsoever. So I discovered that a draft bill was submitted in the National Assembly to modify the Constitution and was adopted. So let people stop imagining things that never happened. I was not involved at any stage in that modification of our Constitution.
Okay, Professor Maurice Kamto, this question coming in from Vivian Kenya. She wants to know concerning the valiant prisoners of the MRC, which is CRM in English. You recently joined the coalition of lawyers. Where is the matter? From Vivian Kenya.
A coalition of?
He's talking about you recently joined, a coalition of lawyers to defend some protesters of the
yes.
CRM. So where is the matter? That's what she wants to know.
No, that is correct. Yes, I took the decision because I thought that, it is always helpful to put our experience and knowledge together. We will necessarily be stronger than one single lawyer or two or so. I think that time had come for me to implicate myself in the defense of our colleagues, militants who are still imprisoned unjustly and add illegally. It doesn't mean that I will change the court of justice, the course of justice in our country just because I'm a lawyer for my militants. But I think that I can bring my own experience, and I'm preparing for that. It's a big challenge, and we are organizing. When times come, they will see me at the court.
Okay, this question coming in from coming. Good afternoon, Professor Maurice Kamto. My name is Nelson Agbo. I am a PhD candidate in human rights law in Plymouth University in the UK. My question to you, Professor, why have you not visited any part of the warring Anglophone regions to show your sympathy with the suffering people in those regions?
First of all, I have visited several times the English-speaking part of the country. If you listen to many social media activists, they will say the contrary, and I know them, and I know for who they are working and why they made such statement. I have not visited the two regions recently, but I think the last time I visited the Southwest, I think, if I'm correct, was 2018. Not for a meeting, but to visit people who were victims of the landslide. If you remember, a military man was involved and his home was completely destroyed. I even made that visit at that time with Mrs. Ndoki. She can testify. So I visited the Southwest, and I even went to the market to visit all the families who were at that time, because the lady was a seller, market seller, and I visited her. But before then, I made a meeting in the Northwest and Southwest on the 25th of June 2016. It is where I call on the government publicly for the first time, asking the government to settle the Anglophone problem. I clearly say that there is an Anglophone problem in this country that should be resolved peacefully. And I say it in Bamenda. You know, the plus of the ceremony in Bamenda was full of people, militants of CRM, but also sympathizers and other people living in Bamenda at that time, because we were the region was not at war at that time. So I could visit the region. But now, during the electoral campaign for the presidential election of 2018, I asked the security, the government, to give me the necessary security to go to Northwest and Southwest. Like all other candidates, if you take, for instance, the current chairperson of this PCRN, who was then candidate, like myself, he went there, but with security people, they gave him gendarmes or military, I don't know which of these two corps, to accompany and to secure his visit there, because we were at that time already in war in the two regions. So as soon as the security matter will be resolved, I can assure you that I will be among those who would visit the two regions as a priority.
Okay, Professor Maurice.
But I cannot, if the government cannot assure security for me, imagine I go there and I'm attacked by those who are going to war there. Or even, I don't know, if I'm attacked and the government is not aware of that or has not provide security, they will say, oh, why did they go there knowing that the region is at war? That's why I cannot go there right now.
This question from Agbo, the PhD candidate in human rights law in Plymouth University. He wants to know from you, Professor, will you allow a referendum to be held in the Anglophone regions if you become president, to all these people, so that all these people decide either to become independent or remain with the entire country?
No, because I don't see the problem in that terms. I have been very clear and vocal on that issue. I will do my best I will give what it takes to maintain Cameroon a single country, a single nation. Let me be very clear on that. I don't play politics with the lives of people. I would not try to fool anyone and to let him imagine we'll go and organize a referendum to give a chance to some people to say they wouldn't like to be part of Cameroon. No. My approach is to do the maximum to give autonomy to our brothers and sisters from the Northwest and Southwest to manage their own affairs in the framework of Cameroon. Whether you call it La République, as they say, because in French how we call it. But as we have been advocating for the federal system, we support the federal approach in the resolution of the current problem in the Northwest and Southwest. So we will say we want Northwest and Southwest to remain in the Federal Republic of Cameroon or in the Federation of Cameroon. But I'm not going to organize any such referendum.
Okay, Professor. A press release dated June 7 by the Cameroon Armed Forces revealed the assassination of 9 civilians, including an 18-month baby. Of course, I read this from your page. And 4 women on the evening of Wednesday, June 1, 2020, in Misong, Truzwa, in Fongom subdivision in the northwest region of Cameroon. The army described it as blunder, and of course, that was a press release from the army. And the release in your page says, this drama, which the army described as a blunder, is the excess blunder in this useless civil war, which a handful of people have plunged our country for nearly 6 years on the basis of interests which are not those of the Cameroonian people. Of course, that is in quote from your page. Can we have an idea who are these handful of people you're talking about? And why do you describe the war as a useless war?
First of all, it's a useless war because we could have avoided that war. It is useless because we are killing ourselves. Those who are being killed in the West and Southwest are Cameroonians. And the military men or the security people who are killed are Cameroonians. That's why we qualified it as useless, because we could have avoided it. Now, when you say when I say a handful of people, yes, because I don't think that I know people, militants of some people who are high-ranking people in the CPDM or members of government, and even some military men, they are not happy with that. They don't feel at ease with this war. They think that we could have stopped that war at a very early stage, and that there is no reason why we should continue. So, but there are, some few people, a circle of people. They know why they are, fueling the war in the Northwest and Southwest. We can just acknowledge the fact that they are sustaining, including some people who call themselves intellectuals or professors in the universities and so on.
So, Professor, let's talk about solutions so far concerning the war going on in the southern Cameroons. Let's talk about solutions. How effective was the major national dialogue, which held in the absence of separatists warlords? How effective was this dialogue in resolving the ongoing conflict?
No, we have been very clear on that that national grand national dialogue, or I don't know what is the appropriate terminology they used. Since 1929, we said that it was, let me use the same word again, useless. It was not helpful, because the conditions in which the dialogue was organized were not proper and were not conducive to good results. We thought that, and we submitted our proposals to the Prime Minister, head of government at that time. We asked him to take some time to make a preparatory work, set up a commission to prepare the national dialogue, to make it an inclusive dialogue, to set up before the beginning of the dialogue the agenda of the dialogue and what would be the fate of the result or the outcome of the dialogue. These are some preconditions if you want a dialogue to be successful. Secondly, we said give some time to the fighters, to our brothers and sisters of the English-speaking part of Cameroon, those who want separation. Give them some time to have a common position, to designate their own representatives to the dialogue, so that when we engage in a dialogue, we know that we are talking to the appropriate people who can ask the end of the war in the field, and they will get the end of the war. It is useless to call people all over the world, send people to mission and with some money and to collect some few people here and there, bring them to Yaoundé, sit them and say we are making a dialogue. The facts are there that it did not end the war. And our own approach has been very clear. Let me remind it to your viewers. First step, stop, the fight, make a ceasefire. And I've always said that for a regular army to declare a ceasefire is not a weakness. It's just to show your strength. I can stop it now. If you also stop, then we can move. We can move ahead and find a solution to our problems. So if you stop the war, make a ceasefire, and then withdraw the regular army from the street, or from the bushes, or from the village, not from the villages, and bring them back into the barracks. Let the gendarmes and police men or women secure or organize the security in the cities. Then, secondly, release all the prisoners involved in the Anglophone crisis. I mean, all the prisoners. Release them. Because it is a political matter that should be resolved politically. Yes, by saying so, I'm not encourage anyone to go and kill. And I'm not saying that there are not criminals. But people have killed from both sides. And we, at a certain point in time, we just have to stop and say, we want to reconcile people, we want to bring peace back. So release them, give them some time to go and even look at their own health, make a checkup, make sure that they are feeling well, and let them some time to organize and have a common position. Designate their representative, and now you call them to a dialogue. Set up the agenda, and we all know that if we agree on the agenda, in the presence of some leading countries and international organizations, including African Union, for instance, representative of the United Nations the United Nations, and some historical partner of Cameroon like France, United Kingdom, and the United States for different reasons. If they are there and facilitators of the dialogue, I'm sure we will come out, because people will feel themselves from, especially our brothers from the English-speaking part who do not feel secure and who do not trust the government anymore. They will feel secure and they will engage in the dialogue, knowing that the facilitators will also be, to some extent, the guarantors of the outcome of the dialogue. This is what we have been proposing.
So, Professor Maurice Kamto, are you saying that if the close to 8 million people of the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, because, of course, there are close to 8 million people in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, they could decide that in the next presidential election, they are going to get registered on the electoral list to vote Professor Maurice Kamto as President of the Republic of Cameroon, plus the other millions of voters in the French-speaking regions of Cameroon. If they decide and vote you as President, you promise them that you can bring on the table Ayabacho Lucas, Chris Anus, Samuel Sako, Capo Daniel, Eric Tato, Tapang Ivo. You can bring them on the table and dialogue with them. Or do you see it as some sort of weakness on the part of the government to dialogue with separatist leaders?
Absolutely. I will bring them. I will bring them to the table. I mean, how are you going to solve that problem if you put some people aside, especially those who are leaders? I don't understand that approach of dialogue. You don't pick up those with whom you want to dialogue and leave the other aside because you don't like them. No, they are part of the problem. I want them to be part of the solution. If we want to reach a long-lasting solution to our problems, let us bring all the stakeholders around the table, put our heads and our hearts together as brothers and sisters. I'm sure we'll come out with a genuine solution and long-lasting solution. This is my approach. Bring all people together.
So, Professor Kamto, what do you have to tell opinion leaders and other stakeholders from the French-speaking part of Cameroon, who most of the time on camera, most of the time when they're asked about dialogue, most of the time they say on a dialogue pas avec des terroristes, which means we don't dialogue with terrorists. What do you have to tell them? Because this seems to be strange coming from you. Because based on what information we are getting from the English-speaking part of Cameroon, many of them believe that it seems to be a kind of a French approach, that on a dialogue pas avec les terroristes or les séparatistes.
It is their own approach. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to our English-speaking viewers. Maybe they don't know me or they don't know my position. I'm consistent with my position. It is based on the experience of what has happened elsewhere in the world. If you want to resolve a problem completely, bring to the dialogue or to the discussion all the stakeholders. Listen to them. You might not accord them all what they are asking for, but at least talk to them. Listen to their own concern and see how far you can go in the search of the solution to the problems. It does not mean that I have set up the framework at the very beginning, at the early stage, when you ask me if I'm going to organize a referendum in that area to give a chance to people to say if they want to stay in the Cameroon or to be independent. I've clearly said no. So the framework has been set up. See, in the neighboring countries, but if you put them in the neighboring countries, it means that, you are planting, the cause for the restart of a war. You will say, I have settled the matter, but you will not have settled the matter. And that's why I also said, if those who think that they can have a military victory as a solution to the problem, they are misleading. Because in a civil crisis, in an internal crisis, a military victory is just a temporary victory. But 10 years after, or in 10 years or 20 years' time, the crisis will resume. And I don't want that. I want to give to the future Cameroonian, to the youth of Cameroon, a peaceful and secure country, for them to come together and build up a solid and respected country in Africa and in the world. So yes, I will talk to all Cameroonian stakeholders in that crisis.
Thank you, Professor Maurice Kamto. Professor, normally, are you an enemy of President Paul Biya or you are his friend?
No. I think if you put the question that way, it will be very difficult to answer. First of all, let me start with the first one. I'm not at all an enemy to President Biya or the enemy of President Biya. You have introduced me. As soon as I defended my doctorate in the University of Nice in 1982, I made the defense on Friday. And one day after, meaning on Sunday, I was in Yaoundé. Because I wanted to bring my own small contribution to the work, to the task ahead of President Biya as a new president of the country. And I did so. No one paid the ticket for me. It is not the government that paid the ticket for me. I was very enthusiastic, as many other Cameroonians, to come and bring my contribution and support his work. So you cannot be an enemy of someone and behave like that. Secondly, I have always given my contribution when it was asked for. And that's the reason why, and I will not go into many details, when they asked me to be in charge of the fight between the case between Cameroon and Nigeria, I didn't hesitate a second. Although the then Minister of Foreign Affairs said, "We know you are not with us," but the President asked me to ask you if you are ready to take charge of this case or this fight. I said, Mr. Minister, when it comes to our nation, when it comes to the defense of our nation, there is no opponent or somebody who does not support you. I'm a soldier. In that case, I'm a soldier. I consider myself as a soldier, and I'm ready to go and fight. And that's how I started with that case. Can you be against a leader and make that stand and make that move? I would have said, oh, it is his problem. I don't care. But no. So I don't have any problem with him. Thirdly, when he asked me to enter his government as a minister delegate, as a minister, because the information was that you would be appointed minister. I didn't know whether he's a minister delegate or not. Obviously, I thought he would be Minister of Justice, because at that time there was no minister delegate in the Ministry of Justice. But this is not very important. So when he asked me to enter his government, I accepted to enter his government. And I brought the best of myself. I gave the best of myself to make sure that he will be successful. The work we have achieved with the then Vice Prime Minister in charge of Justice is, I mean, the history will tell the truth on that.
And the allegations, and the allegations that, of course, other allegations that come up most of the time, that President Paul Biya helped you make money through a cabinet which you created. I don't know. I wanted to respond to that because a viewer has just sent a question about that.
No, it's not serious. It's not serious at all. I created my cabinet before the beginning of the crisis between Nigeria and Cameroon. It was not, the purpose was not to serve as a cabinet for that case. And the witness or the witnesses are there. The people are still alive. They can testify that my cabinet existed long before. I didn't even know at that time that I would be involved in that case, and that the case would burst out because the crisis was not there at that time. And I would like the English viewers to listen to me very clearly on that matter. I was appointed not as a member of a law firm or a cabinet, a judicial or jurist cabinet, not at all. I was appointed as a Cameroonian. I was then just a professor of law at the University of Yaoundé, affected in Gaundere at that time. I was in Gaundere, actually. I was in Gaundere at that time. Because some people even say that I refused to go to Gaundere. No, I was professor at the University of Gaundere at that time. I opened the Faculty of Law. Just let me remind you that they appointed me as Vice Dean without any dean. Appointing me as Vice Dean of the University of Gaundere. I say I will not go there as Vice Dean. I will go there as professor, but not. And I went there as Vice Dean. It was Jenche who acted as Dean at that time. So the cabinet existed before, first of all. Secondly, I would like the viewers to listen to me clearly. I didn't sign any contract whatsoever with the Cameroonian government to serve in the Bakassi case. Not at all. I was there as a civil servant, and we were treated as civil servants. And the money we received was the current money any Cameroonian civil servant when he go to missions. It is according to your MDs or your rank in the public service or public administration in Cameroon. There is nowhere, no single contract whatsoever I've signed in that matter. So it is the Cameroonians are just like they are. First of all, they don't believe that a Cameroonian can serve his country without, earning a lot of money in the service he has rendered his country. I'm committed to my country. Although I fight this government, if there is any issue today engaging Cameroon as a nation, I will be at the forefront. Professor, so let them listen to me and know.
Okay, Professor.
Secondly, the amount people are giving, billions and so on and so forth. I never managed any single coin in that matter. And those who are in charge of the management of the funds are still alive. They can go and check, both at the Ministry of Justice and at the Presidency. Full stop. Things are very clear.
Professor, let me come back to problems related to divisions in Cameroon. Cameroonians of English-speaking extraction sometimes are made not to have a feeling of national belonging. I'm talking about those that are in Yaoundé and sometimes in Douala. They sometimes get appellations like les Anglos, les Bamenda, les ennemis. Les Anglos sont toujours à gauche. What do you think should be done to stop such derogatory remarks on fellow Cameroonians?
It's very sad, to listen to that. And it is these generations of the past 30 years, because when I was a student myself here in the University of Yaoundé, we never had such, behavior between ourselves. Anglophones, we didn't even know at that time. Okay, we could know that a fellow student come from Bamenda or from the southwest, but it was not a problem. I was in the University of Yaoundé at the same time as Mr. Fominio. You can ask him if we had such behavior or attitude. So that's something which is very recent. And it is something I deplore because it is very, very detrimental to our country, to our nation. And what can we do against that? Let me remind you what is in my program for presidential elections. I was very clear, it was very clear, and I say it, I repeat it, that was I in charge, I would have already taken the decision that no single Cameroonian civil servant will remain in the Cameroonian administration if he cannot speak both languages. Because everything comes from that an English-speaking Cameroonian will go to an administration in Yaoundé and speak, and he is right to do so, and speaks in English. And just because the person in front of him cannot respond in English, he will start talking rubbish. Because it is rubbish to say such things. It is shameful to our country and to people who behave like that. And I will, encourage, not just create a commission on bilingualism, bilingualism and so on and so forth. It's not a matter just of multiplying institutions. It's a matter of giving life to bilingualism in Cameroon at all levels, starting from school. We still have schools where, even when they say it is bilingual, you have Anglophone in one side and Francophone in other side. It's not bilingual. It's just two schools in the same compound.
Professor.
So, yes. So and let me end with that point, that if you have such a behavior, it will be very clear in the administration, and that somebody has such a behavior, he will be sanctioned according to the administrative laws of our country.
Professor Kamto, division seems to be a new normal now in Cameroon, with groups like Sadina and Tongtina. Are you Sadina or Tongtina?
I'm Cameroonian.
Okay. What do you think about what can be done to stop Cameroonians from identifying themselves as Sadina or Tongtina?
It will ask a lot of work to all of us. And we know those who are behind that terminology or phraseology. It has become even an ideology or ideologies. And it is terrible for our nation. Because again, I'm of a generation who never know this type of behavior, this type of hatred speech. I think that time has come for the government to take full responsibility of what is going on in the country. They know that they appoint people who, are behind that ideology. The term things has adopted in our country, things have adopted in our country, comes from there. And they will appoint them in high position in the administration, in the universities, and so on and so forth. It means that they are encouraging that type of behavior. I'm definitely against that. And we will fight it very severely and strongly.
Do you want to drink some water, or we can move on with the interview? Maybe you want to drink some water?
Yeah. Yes, I will drink some water, please.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we just give, some 1 minute, 30 seconds for Professor Maurice Kamto to drink some water so that we can come and continue with the last part of this program. This is My Media Prime Television, the African Eye. We are broadcasting from Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. My name is Bo Elvis, and in today's edition of your Pan-African show, 90 Minutes in Africa, we are having a one-on-one with Professor Maurice Kamto, a legal guru in Cameroon, and of course former minister delegate at the Ministry of Justice in Cameroon. He is answering questions relating to affairs of the nation, affairs relating to the nations from the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, affairs concerning Cameroon, and of course very soon we'll ask him questions about Africa to conclude our show. Keep on sending your questions so that we can ask them to the professor. And if I have not asked your question, just know that in the course of the response, Professor Kamto already gave a response about the questions that you asked. If our producer, I think our prof, I think you are okay now. I think you've taken some water now. Hello? I think Prof has taken some water now for us to continue with the questions. Okay. When Professor will take, I also understand that some of our viewers from the French-speaking side of Cameroon have been sending us questions, and that is a question that Professor Kamto will answer. Of course, the question is in French. We are going to read the question in French and then translate it into English, and Professor Kamto is going to answer the question coming in from Paul Clement. You know, this is an opportunity for Professor to answer some of the questions and preoccupations of the people, because I think this should be his second media outing in about 2 years. Prof, are you with me?
Yes, I
okay.
Get you properly.
Yeah, this is the question. Bonsoir, grand prof. Nous savons dans les coulisses appris que vous soutenez les Amba Boys. Est-ce que c'est vrai? Paul Clement. This is an allegation from a viewer who is saying that he has heard rumors sometimes that Professor Maurice Kamto supports the Ambazonia, and he's asking if this is true. I think it's good for you to clarify the public on that.
Yes, let me start answering in French, and then I will say some few words quickly in English about that to make everybody be very, aware of what is going on. On ne peut pas dire que je soutiens les Ambazoniens et en même temps se moquer de moi, voire m'insulter parce que j'ai refusé de recevoir les Ambazoniens. C'est deux choses l'une. Ou effectivement c'est une affabulation, ou c'est une mauvaise compréhension de ce que cela veut dire soutenir. Quand j'étais en tournée en Amérique du Nord, au Canada, il y a une délégation de Camerounais qui sont venus donc anglophones qui sont venus et ont demandé à me rencontrer. Seulement, ils portaient un drapeau de l'Ambazonie. Et j'ai dit que non, je ne pourrais pas les recevoir avec le drapeau de l'Ambazonie parce que j'estimais qu'entre Camerounais, nous n'avions pas 36 drapeaux. Il y a un drapeau camerounais, jusqu'à preuve de contraire. Donc, je ne pouvais pas les recevoir. J'étais prêt à les recevoir s'ils mettaient de côté le drapeau de l'Ambazonie. Ils ont refusé de mettre de côté le drapeau de l'Ambazonie et je ne les ai pas reçus. Ensuite, lorsqu'il y a eu le concert de Valsero à Paris, où j'étais, il y a eu une scène d'ailleurs qui m'a vraiment frappé. C'est-à-dire des porteurs de drapeaux de l'Ambazonie qui sont venus saisir, tenir le bout du drapeau du Cameroun avec leur drapeau. Alors, mes contempteurs, qu'est-ce qu'ils ont dit? Ils ont dit non, Kamto aurait dû quitter la salle. Cela veut dire que ce sont des petites gens qui ne peuvent même pas assumer des responsabilités, n'est-ce pas? À plus forte raison, diriger un pays. Vous croyez qu'on dirige un pays en tremblant ou en prenant la fuite dès qu'il y a la moindre difficulté? Or, moi, j'avais une lecture. Je ne m'attendais pas à cette scène. Et moi, j'avais une lecture différente de ce moment-là. J'ai dit que si des anglophones avec le drapeau ambazonien viennent faire jonction avec le drapeau du Cameroun, c'est un signal qu'ils sont en train de donner. Moi, j'interprète ça comme une volonté de discuter, comme une volonté de rester dans le cadre de la nation camerounaise. Mais ceux qui ont une vue extrêmement courte et qui ne comprennent pas les dynamiques qui sont à l'œuvre, qui sont complètement enfermés dans un schéma manichéen, destructeur pour notre pays, y ont vu, effectivement, ils n'y ont vu que des Ambazoniens qui venaient manifester ou je ne sais pas moi quoi et que je devais sortir de la salle. Donc je ne soutiens pas les Ambazoniens. Je ne peux pas dire, je viens de vous dire que je n'organiserai pas et que je n'organiserai en aucune manière un référendum dans les régions du nord-ouest ou du sud-est pour leur demander s'ils veulent rester au Cameroun ou prendre leur indépendance. Je ne le ferai pas. Le cadre dans lequel nous devons travailler pour résoudre la crise anglophone, c'est le Cameroun. Comment donc puis-je soutenir des Ambazoniens qui, eux, veulent faire la sécession et en même temps dire que je veux discuter avec eux pour que l'on préserve l'unité du Cameroun? Donc c'est la petite politique à la petite semaine des gens qui n'ont pas d'arguments. Et vous savez qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui n'ont pas d'emploi, qui n'ont pas de métier, qui sont disséminés partout et que le régime entretient pour tenir ce genre de discours. Parce qu'ils croient que de cette façon-là, ils vont me décrédibiliser d'un côté aux yeux des francophones en disant voilà quelqu'un qui soutient la guerre et la sécession, et de l'autre, me décrédibiliser aux yeux des Ambazoniens, ou des anglophones plus exactement, voulais-je dire, aux yeux des anglophones en disant voilà ceux qui entretiennent la guerre dans notre région. Ou bien J'ai même entendu, n'est-ce pas, des dirigeants politiques anglophones dire que, voilà, j'étais contre les anglophones et qu'ils ne pouvaient pas du tout compter sur moi pour régler les problèmes du Cameroun parce que c'est mon fonds de commerce. J'ai dit qu'ils lisent le projet de société du MRC. Lorsque nous avons lancé le MRC en 2012, nous avions déjà, le chapitre existe, les documents existent, nous avions déjà dit qu'il y a un problème anglophone et que nous résoudrons par le dialogue.
Thank you.
Donc,
I'm sure that our French-speaking viewers will
yes.
will not say today that we are marginalized because, of course, this was an opportunity for Professor Kamto to do the
just a few words.
Exactly. Okay.
Sorry, Elvis. Just the last word in English on that point.
Okay, Prof.
Yes, an Anglophone political leader has said several times, repetitively, in the social media and in the mainstream media, that I can't be a solution for Anglophone crisis. That I use Anglophone crisis as my political, playground. Just yes, I will not be, insulting against him, but that's lack of knowledge. Because if he look at my political itinerary, you see that I'm consistent. The first time I openly talk of English-speaking Cameroonians' problem in this country was in our vision for Cameroon in 2012 when we launched CRM. And you can see it is still on our website. You cannot change the date. And it's clearly said, I clearly said that there is an Anglophone problem in Cameroon that must be settled through dialogue. It was clear. In 2012, I know the Anglophone problem because I know the country. Secondly, the same leader said that you cannot trust me because I went to the United States and prevent Mr. Nagy to support federalism in Cameroon. Shame. A shame. He happens to be a lawyer. It's a big shame because I did my best, everything I could to push forward the idea of federalism as a solution to Cameroonian problem. Mr. Nagy is still alive. Those who know him can ask him what I not only said to him, but what I hand over to him, documents on how we can organize Cameroon in a federal way. And that those who, for I don't know whatever reason, would like to, to combat me, but I know the reason. I know who are behind and for whom they are working. But I don't care because I can talk to my fellow compatriots directly thanks to your channel. I can talk to people in my meetings and they know that I'm genuine and I'm consistent in my position in settling the Anglophone crisis.
Okay, Professor, a question coming in from Zoe Aloysius, who is writing us from Bamenda. He says, good afternoon, Professor Kamto. I'm enjoying your talk. What will you do if the Biya regime decides to hand over power to Frank Biya in the next presidential election?
I mean, he has said several times, President Biya has said, acting president, several times, that he don't look at Cameroon as a monarchy. So there is no way. He said at that time they were not even referring to his own son. They asked him if he was preparing somebody to succeed to him, and he said, "I'm not, because we are not a monarchy. So I don't see why I should be preparing anyone. Cameroonians are clever enough, they are mature enough to choose whoever they would want to lead them. So, a fortiori, if he said that for any other person, I don't see him doing that for his own child. But if for any reason the situation changes and it happens that they want to position whoever as present here in Cameroon. It will not be a personal problem of Kamto. It will be our problem as a nation, as Cameroonians. But all I've been saying is that the son of the current president is free as a Cameroonian to be a candidate to the presidential elections. It's up to Cameroonians to decide if they want him as a president or not. It's not for me, provided that it is through free and fair elections. This is the condition sine qua non, because if it is not the case, then we are going into trouble.
Ok. Bonsoir à vous et merci pour votre émission. S'il vous plaît, demandez au président que compte-t-il faire pour déjouer le gré à gré qui se désigne de jour en jour au sommet de l'État, car il est le seul espoir du peuple camerounais actuellement. Of course, he wants to ask what you're going to do to ensure that power is not handed over in a very, I don't know how to say gray in English. Power is not handed over, I mean, based on friendship basis to the next person as the president.
With friendship, yes, on actual basis, yes. Thank you very much for the question to the person. Let me start in French. Le gré à gré nous interpelle tous. Qu'est-ce que c'est que le gré à gré? C'est la mise en œuvre, c'est-à-dire de mécanismes qui pourraient aboutir au transfert de la fonction présidentielle d'une personne, du président en fonction, à une autre personne, sans que la personne passe par des élections libres et transparentes. C'est-à-dire sans que la personne ne soit choisie par les Camerounais. Alors, comment prévenir le gré à gré? C'est une tâche qui nous incombe à nous tous. Merci de dire que je suis le seul espoir. Mais nous ne réussirons qu'ensemble. Je ne peux pas y arriver seul. Je vous ai alerté, j'ai alerté le peuple camerounais sur le fait effectivement que le gré à gré était en marche. Et depuis 3 ans, ça travaille, c'est compliqué. Laissez-moi faire une petite parenthèse. Je me rends compte que les choses passent et échappent aux Camerounais. Quand le président en fonction, à peine élu en fin 2018, courant 2019, signe un décret de délégation de signature, délégation totale de signature, sans limiter la matière et sans limiter dans le temps. C'est-à-dire, rien n'est exclu de la délégation. Généralement, le président dit, bon, sauf les matières de souveraineté, ayant trait à la défense, à la sécurité, à la diplomatie, ou des choses comme ça. Rien n'a été exclu. Au contraire, le président dit dans le décret que le bénéficiaire de la délégation discriminera lui-même ce qu'il peut lui soumettre. Cela veut dire qu'il a inversé. Donc c'est celui à qui il a donné la délégation qui devient le président effectif, puisque c'est lui qui discrimine. Quand vous avez un chef, c'est lui qui sait quel dossier il va vous coter. Donc si le président fait une délégation sans limiter et dit c'est vous qui pouvez discriminer, le bénéficiaire de la délégation ne peut rien lui soumettre. Et il n'est pas en violation de la loi, puisqu'on lui a dit c'est vous qui appréciez ce que vous pouvez nous soumettre. Il peut dire j'ai tout apprécié et j'ai estimé qu'il n'y avait rien à vous soumettre. Donc là, il y a déjà, par le biais d'un acte juridique, un transfert du pouvoir. Il faut bien le savoir, parce que quand nous débattons, on passe le temps à dire les hautes instructions et tout ça. En réalité, le bénéficiaire de la délégation n'avait même pas besoin d'invoquer les hautes instructions. On lui a donné le pouvoir par cet acte. Maintenant, il se trouve que le délégataire du pouvoir est toujours là. Donc, on se dit, on attend qu'il ne soit plus là pour que, effectivement, la fonction présidentielle revienne pleinement donc, à quelqu'un. Et tout ce que nous disons au MRC, et ce que je vous dis depuis toujours, et ce que je voudrais que nous fassions ensemble, c'est de dire au Cameroun, nous n'accepterons jamais que quelqu'un devienne président de la République sans être élu. par les Camerounais pour assumer cette fonction par des élections libres et transparentes. C'est la seule façon d'empêcher le gré à gré. Et à cet égard, vous ne pouvez le faire vraiment concrètement, au-delà des paroles, qu'en allant vous inscrire massivement sur les listes électorales pour avoir votre carte d'électeur et d'aller voter le jour de l'élection pour exprimer votre désaccord. Vous voulez le changement depuis 1992. Toutes les études montrent que le désir du changement réunit la majorité des Camerounais. Mais le résultat des élections est toujours différent. Cela veut dire que nous ne faisons pas ce qu'il faut faire. Et ce qu'il faut faire, c'est de s'inscrire. Beaucoup de gens. Je peux faire un meeting où il y a 100 000, 200 000, 1 million de personnes. Mais si vous demandez s'il y en a 50 000 qui sont inscrits, vous ne trouverez pas. De venir par centaines de milliers pour que l'on se parle et que l'acte décisif qui doit apporter le changement, c'est-à-dire le bulletin de vote, vous ne l'avez pas. Donc nous avons encore du temps devant nous. Allez vous inscrire massivement. Si vous avez des difficultés, portez cela à notre connaissance. C'est là aussi que nous pouvons nous battre. Et le jour du vote, allez voter. Défendez votre vote si c'est nécessaire. Défendez votre vote. Cela veut dire ne votez pas et rentrez à la maison. Quand on fait le dépouillement, il faut être autour des bureaux de vote, être aux fenêtres. Il faut surveiller le dépouillement pour que les résultats qui sortent soient les résultats justement que les Camerounais ont voulu. Voilà comment on peut prévenir le gré à gré. Il n'y a pas 1000 façons de le faire.
Okay, Professor. Thank you, Professor.
So, let me yes, please call on my fellow compatriots, sisters and brothers from the English-speaking part of this nation. If you want the Anglophone crisis to be peacefully, with the will to bring genuine solution to that crisis, you should go and register to go to vote when comes the D-Day and defend your vote. It is the only way you can change the leadership in this country. And as long as you have not changed the leadership of this country, don't expect anything. If you want a new leader who can bring Cameroonians together, bring them to put their intelligence, their knowledge, their know-how together to change the landscape, to change the face of this country, to bring development, because we have everything to be a developed country, then change the leadership. And we advocate for peaceful change through free and fair elections.
Professor Maurice Kamto, are you aware of the problem of Cameroonians unable to have their identity cards? Because an identity card seems to be a luxury now in Cameroon. Someone says he wants me to ask you this question. What are you doing? Have you tried to meet President Paul Biya or maybe the Delegate General in charge of national security to see what can be done to ensure that Cameroonians can easily have access, to the basic right, which is to have an identity card?
No, I don't think this is not a problem, that need a meeting with President Biya. I think we should, the leader is not there to handle every single issue for the good functioning of the state or the nation. As you have mentioned, the ID is produced by the national delegate in charge of security. So it is at that level that something must be done. But what can be done? What can be done is to make sure that every single Cameroonian who wants to register as a voter in this country have his ID. Why can't we produce ID free of charge? I can understand that we put a lot of money for the passports because only those who have, some money can travel. But for poor Cameroonians in the villages, in the cities, who cannot afford a daily meal, to ask them to pay so much money for an ID card is just a way to prevent them from having it. And I think that as a government, we can take the decision upon us. As a country, we can take the decision that we would produce the ID in Cameroon free of charge. After all, when you have the database, the machine to produce the card is not that expensive. It's something we can do. It is true that you need to secure the cards, but people know how to do so. So, yes, it will cost some money. It's billions of CFA francs. But yes, these are good expenses because it benefits the citizens and help them, work and do their daily work with security, because they will not be arrested because they don't have ID. Can I remember you that some people were sentenced before the military tribunal because of lack of ID? So it's something serious, and the government should look into it. And I'm ready, as soon as I'm in charge, to find money is in the budget of this government, of this nation, to make sure that people have their ID free of charge. The same thing with their birth certificate. Same thing with birth certificate.
Thank you, Prof. That question was coming in from Temkem Dwalem. Professor, I want to know from you, someone just sent a question because he wants to know from you, what do you think? Do you think that having an Anglophone as a president of Cameroon is going to put an end to the ongoing crisis in the Northwest and Southwest? Do you think that is a solution? Is your party considering maybe filling an Anglophone as flag bearer of the party in the upcoming presidential election, maybe as a way to stop the ongoing clashes in the Northwest and Southwest regions?
Yes, I don't look at the problem of our nation that way. First of all, are you sure that all the Anglophones share the fight of the Anglophones? You are not sure. I remember some months ago, I issued a communique because I was, exhausted, and I was really shocked by the ongoing war and killings. And I say, why should the Anglophone leaders holding position in the system at all levels, whether in the parliament or in government, consider coming together to have one single position and submit it to the acting president and say, if that does not happen, then we will stop, we'll resign. But the first group to fight me bitterly were Anglophones. They were Anglophones. They are Anglophones. Can you imagine that? What is shocking in what I'm proposing? Yes, if they want, they could have said, yes, we want some Francophone to join us in that process. I would have listened to them. I would have understood. Sorry, I would have understood them. But they criticized me just because I proposed that. I was not, flagging somebody especially. I was just making a meaningful proposal for me, because we have not listened, we have not heard the elite, the Anglophone elite on that. The CPDM elite, what are they thinking of about the Anglophone crisis? And you ask me to put an Anglophone president. Is it sure? Are you sure that if that Anglophone is a president, he will settle the matter, he will resolve the problem of the Anglophones? After all, you have a prime minister who is Anglophone. So stop dreaming that way. I think that Anglophone should be president of Cameroon to rule the whole country, including settling the Anglophone problem. And I'm part of those who think that, yes, we should make everything, because the situation is this one. The Anglophone is about 1/4 or 1/5 or 1/3, I don't know, something like that, population of Cameroon. So if you count of them only to win an election, you will not. So you necessarily need the support or the vote of the Francophone. And I'm part of those who say, make Anglophones, get involved in political parties, including CRM, including political parties from led by Francophones, as they said. The problem is, who is that Francophone leading a political party? What is his ideology? What is his thinking on the Anglophone crisis? What is his vision for the whole nation? When you consider that, you come, and from there you can be promoted as the leader of the party and become the candidate of the party. I will not go in the northwest and southwest and pick up somebody and say, okay, come and be the candidate of the CRM just because I want an Anglophone to become president, when I don't even know if he will really settle the matter. So let Anglophone join us massively. We now have some, but we need more, and we will make them, hold position in the party to become the natural candidate of the party, and we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that they are elected president of this country.
Professor Maurice Kamto, I want to ask if you have any problem with the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Ntanganji.
Not at all. I will surprise you. Can you imagine that? I think I met that official for the first time, and maybe it is the single time I met him, probably in 2017 or 2016, in a friendly meeting, in a friendly gathering. I never met him before. I've made a criticism, one criticism, concerning the current Minister of Administration, Territorial Administration, concerning precisely the Anglophone crisis, when he said to President Biya that there is no Anglophone problem, there is no Anglophone crisis, that Anglophone has benefited the most in the sharing of the national cake and so on and so forth. That I criticized it because it was not the reality I could see in the field. Apart from that, I don't have any problem with him. I've never met him in an official capacity. I've never met him before. So he is part of those who have made the political problem of the country personal problem. His action against CRM and against myself is like he takes it as personal problem between CRM and him, or between him and myself. I don't take it like that. He is a minister, meaning that he's in a government who is supposed to be acting for the country. He should not take anything personal.
Are you
he might be the greatest support of President Biya. He should accept that I can disagree with President Biya and still be a Cameroonian, and I will see him and greet him. There is no problem. Let's take it as civilized people and do politics as civilized people.
Are you considering mending relations with, your relationship with Minister Paul Ntanganji, so that your party can be able to carry out its peaceful matches without being disturbed? Because, as you know, he is a strong personality in the country, and it might make things very difficult for your party if you continue to go in with to a broad affair with him. He's the Minister of Territorial Administration, and he can decide to ban your party.
Elvis, sorry, because if you put things like that, you are misleading the viewers. You cannot say I'm making broad affair with territorial administration. Really, there is no single meeting or public demonstration we have made without going to the territorial administration. We are not supposed to go to the Ministry of Territorial Administration. He has his representative in the DO, the sub-DO, and so on and so forth. We go there according to the law and declare our meetings and demonstration. But he has taken the stand that he will never allow us to organize any meeting. It's not a problem I don't see, it's not a matter of bras de fer. It's not the problem of bras de fer. You know, it doesn't start it with him. It is just that it has amplified. He has, you know, he has given another dimension to that hostility against our political party. It started before him. It has, even when the current Minister of Communication was in the Minister of Territorial Administration, he prevented us to organize a meeting in Bertois. So I will not put that on the current Minister of Territorial Administration. I don't have any personal problem with him.
Okay.
We do everything peaceful. We have been organizing demonstration. Can he show one single picture or everything, any you know, slice thing, showing that we were violent, even not even against the security personnel, but even against common citizens? No. So what is public order? How can public order be in danger in this case? Before sometime we went as far as, you know, submitting declaration, more than 100 declaration for peaceful demonstration or meetings. All of them were rejected. So why can you talk of bras de fer? How can I be in bras de fer with? He has public, you know, public personnel. He has military, gendarmes, and so on and so forth. I will not be in bras de fer with him. For him to act as a minister for his country, for all his compatriots, for all political parties, and not take it as a personal issue between him and myself.
Thank you, Professor, for that clarification. Thank you so much for that clarification. We are gradually getting to the end of this interview. And Professor, I want you to give a special message to those in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. I mean, a message to the military that are fighting the separatists in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, and also direct message too to some of the separatists in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon who might also be watching the program this time. What do you have to tell them? And also a message to the people that are caught in between these, in between the separatists and the military.
I would like to tell my fellow compatriots, brothers and sisters from the northwest and southwest, that my commitment to stop the war in the northwest and southwest is not game, it's not a play. It's a genuine commitment from somebody who has been consistent in finding peace in his country. Like I say, it is in 2012 that I come out clearly with the idea or with the fact that there is an Anglophone problem in this country, and that should be settled through genuine dialogue, brotherhood, and so on. And that is my commitment, settling that crisis in a brotherly manner. This is our nation. This is our country. An Anglophone has not and will never have more right in this country than an Anglophone. Let it be very clear. I would like you to give a chance for us to settle the matter. And how can you give that chance? To go register massively and vote. Don't boycott the future elections, because they will be crucial, critical to the future of our country. And it will depend on who will be elected majority in the parliament or leader of the country as the president of this country. It will be our choice. It depends on us. I count on you. But know that every single compatriot from the northwest and southwest, like every single military of Cameroonian Force of Defense and Security who loses his life, is a heartbreak for me. Our heart is bleeding and has been bleeding since 2016, the time I saw the first Anglophone shoot on by military or security people. But this is your nation. This is our nation all together. Don't let somebody make you shy away or think that you are less Cameroonian than himself. And what the only message I can give to our soldiers, starting from the high-ranking official, is that you are in a stronger position than the separatist fighter. You can't compare yourself or your strength to theirs. That's why I think that you can be a better advice to the current president to bring it to the acceptance of the fact that we need a genuine dialogue to settle the matter. You don't need to demonstrate your strength to your patriots. We know the Cameroonian army as a strong army, as a professional army, despite the fact that we deplore, what happened in the field, especially in the Anglophone crisis, because we have lost a lot of innocent civilians, including children. That should not happen again. But please, be the lawyer of this nation to Mr. Biya, to tell him that it is time to stop this, to make an end, to put an end to this war, to bloodshed, and you will have been very, very helpful to our country. Your victory, if you have a military victory today, it will just be to put the dust into the carpet, but that will resume in 10 years or 20 years' time. We don't need that for our country. We need to bring our country together and our people together to build up all together a strong and respected nation. Thank you.
Professor Maurice Kamto, I want to thank you sincerely. We really took long to plan this interview. And I want to thank you sincerely for being accountable by accepting to grant this interview to us. We are really very grateful, Professor.
Thank you. I was very happy to share this time with you, and we'll have another occasion to come to them again.
Exactly, Prof. So we are going to organize a part 2 of the program, because sincerely, the number of messages that are coming in and the number of questions have not been able to ask even 1/4 of them. So probably, Prof, in future, we plead that you would reconsider second part of this program so that we can be able to ask all the questions of our viewers. And we thank you so much, Professor, for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we come to the end of today's edition of the program 90 Minutes in Africa, produced by Eli Ewane. I want to thank the input of all the members of our group 90 Minutes in Africa. If you want to be a guest in this program, it is simple. Or if you have the suggestion of a guest, someone you think can be guest in this program, just write to me using the number you find on your screen, or contact me on Twitter or Facebook and write to me, and we are going to make it possible for your guest to be here. 90 Minutes in Africa is the most watched Pan-African program in both English and French Africa. Today's edition of the program 90 Minutes in Africa was coordinated by Kum Leonard and produced by Eli Ewane with the supervision of the General Manager Brian Tambe. I am Bo Elvis, thanking you for watching. Have a wonderful Saturday and see you next week, God willing. Bye-bye.